Nyoman Sumartini. She's 7 years old and she's from the Indonesian island of Bali. Every weekend, Nyoman comes to the Seniwati Sanggar, a special workshop for gifted young painters. She works quietly and carefully together with her friends. They produce beautiful designs of birds or flowers or rice fields or whatever else takes their fancy. Nyoman and her friends are naturally talented. They never need to copy another picture. They create their designs from their own imagination. They know instinctively how to blend colors, how to create beautiful lines and shapes. They find their inspiration in the exotic surroundings that they have grown up with, and as they work, they experiment with new techniques and designs. There is always a teacher to guide them, but often they share ideas and learn from each other. At the end of the afternoon, proud parents come to take them home. The Seniwati Sanggar is for girls only, and it is a privilege for parents to be able to say that their daughter paints here. A weekend painter's workshop for talented young girls may not seem unusual, but here, in fact, it is. Why? "28 years ago, Putu Sariati developed polio and has never been able to walk. Even her wheelchair has limitations because of the muddy areas around her house in the middle of the Balinese rice fields. In fact, often if Putu needed to go anywhere beyond her front door, she had to be carried. In Putu society, the womenfolk were largely expected to put their energy into the home and family. This was seen as their most important duty, and they were not expected or given the chance to gain a high level of education or develop work skills to contribute to the family. The future for someone like Putu, confined to a wheelchair and restricted even in domestic duties, could actually be very limited. 3 weeks ago, Putu's family were wired for electricity for the first time. They have a brand new electricity meter to prove it, and can now enjoy their own electric lighting and television. Furthermore, they have recently been able to build a stone wall around their house and a concrete path for Putu's wheelchair. Major improvements indeed, and all this has been financed by Putu herself. In Balinese village society, where women are not expected to bring in money, Putu has found a way of making all this a reality. How? Bali is known by many as a holiday destination, with luxurious beach resorts for tour groups. Here in the village of Ubud in central Bali, however, visitors come for different reasons: the beautiful scenery and the culture. Balinese people are naturally talented artists and craftsmen, and here in central Bali, painting, wood carving and silverwork are big business. Balinese arts and crafts sell well in many foreign countries, and this has meant a comfortable profit for many local businessmen. But who controls this business? Who produces these works of art? Painting pictures may well seem like women's work, but no. In fact, just about all the local art sold here and abroad is produced, marketed and sold by men. The local art museum in Ubud is famous, and every single piece in it is the work of a man. In this society, it would not be a woman's place to become either famous or rich through painting. Only the menfolk could traditionally aspire to this kind of greatness. But what if there were talented women artists, very talented women who deserve the chance to express themselves freely, who had the potential to contribute financially to their families and to contribute to the development of art and business in Bali, but who would never be recognized simply because they were women? We return briefly to Putu, and we find that among other things, Putu has a business card. On this, she has proudly had printed Seniwati Gallery. Seniwati, art by women. Putu is one of those talented women painters. She has been recognized, encouraged, and supported. In the last 4 years, she has been able to sell nearly 20 of her paintings to buyers from Ireland, Italy, Japan, Australia, the States, Canada, and more. And we have already seen how she's contributed to her family. Seniwati Gallery, art by women, is the first of its kind in Asia. It was started in 1993 by Mary Northmore, who believes strongly that talented women artists deserved recognition. Let's take a closer look.
When I first came to Bali many years ago, I became familiar with all the galleries and the museums in Ubud in Bali. And I learned that all the famous artists were men. Wherever I looked, it was paintings by men, men, men. And when I asked about the women artists, people would tell me that they didn't exist or they didn't know anything about them. But in fact, as I investigated further, I discovered that the women artists do exist, and they have always existed, and they've always been at home painting the most beautiful works of art. But they've never been given any recognition, and so the obvious thing to do was to open a gallery for them. And that's what I did. So here it is. Well, the women artists of Ubud are famous now really for 2 reasons. And the first one is just because of the quality of their work. Every visitor who comes to this gallery, yeah, you just have to look around. You can see there's beautiful work here. There's very powerful work here. There's work here which has extraordinary attention to detail, beautiful, beautiful colouring, beautiful harmony in the work. What they're seeing here is work of, it's a labour of love. It's work that the women artists have done because they have to do it because they're artists. It is not work they've done because they know that it's easy to get money from it. It has never been easy for these women. It's never been a temptation for them because it's never been possible before. And with our emphasis constantly on improving quality, matched with their extraordinary talent, of course what you see here is wonderful art. And we produce a calendar every year of the women artists of Bali. People come along, they buy it, they give it to their friends, so their friends learn about us. They spend the whole of the next year looking at photos of our paintings. So it's really for these 2 reasons. One is the quality, and one is the extraordinary degree of support and friendship that we have from visitors all around the world, who often are just attracted in by the fact that there's a sign on the main road in Ubud saying Seniwati Gallery of Art by Women, and they're intrigued, they want to know more. They are our greatest advertisements.
What does the gallery mean to the Balinese women painters?
Because Seniwati Gallery is a special place to showing their work, and before there was alone, and now they got a place to with the group, and they will get happier and good experience, and also they don't feel lonely anymore as they alone. So when they have a group have a friend, they don't feel lonely anymore. They will feel stronger and get more experience, and also they got another idea from another work when they saw another work from another artist.
When Mary discovered that there were women painters hidden away in villages, she realized that giving them support and recognition was not necessarily easy. The situation would need to be handled with sensitivity and patience.
Well, when I found that there were women artists, they did exist in all these different villages, I felt it was really important just to give them support, to say to them that what they were doing was very valid, and to say to their families that it was very valid, to make their families proud of them. If the family is proud of the artist, then everything else will fall into place. But to get the family proud in the first place was quite difficult, because it even reached the extreme that one of the artists at our first group meeting, with tears in her eyes, admitted that she'd always believed she was mad. because she wanted to paint, and she was a woman, and her family told her that that was mad, that was crazy. I think what's important here about the local attitudes is that we've actually had to try to work to change them. This is sort of personified, if you like, by our one failure, which is a woman whose mother-in-law has forbidden her from coming here because she says that she shouldn't be involved with us, that we're too strong and too outspoken and too much in the public eye, and this is not a woman's place. So, you know, obviously we can't do anything about that, we just have to accept it. But those artists whose families are prepared to have them come forward, we just try very hard to make them feel proud.
So what exactly did Mary do to win the support of husbands and families? What did it take to make the women painters feel confident enough to step forward and offer a painting for sale, alongside all those in the male-dominated galleries of Ubud?
I think there were two very important factors that we had to influence from the beginning, and one was that we had to encourage the cooperation and participation of the men in the family to support these women artists. And the other one was that we had to make the extended family, the community, proud of these artists. That's what would make the difference to their futures. Well, what I did once I'd found that a woman artist existed, I would go to her home and see her work and discuss her work with her. And then I would ask if I could buy a piece. And I think this was really important because many galleries would just borrow works to sell, but I felt it was very important that I should make that statement, that I had that faith in the artist and I was prepared to actually put my money there by buying a piece of work. Plus also what was very unusual was that I never bargained about the piece of art. It's normal here to bargain. Most people would bargain when they buy a piece of art. That's fine, but I felt in this case that the relationship I wanted with the artist was one of equals. They are the artist, they decide the price, that's their privilege, it's their responsibility. But it also meant that in front of the family, the family could actually see this artist receiving money for their work. And I hoped that that would mean that the family then associated my arrival with good news.
Mary has helped the women artists of Bali to make a difference to their lives in a number of different ways.
For me, the most important one is that those artists and their families are now proud of what they do. They have a lot more self-confidence now, they have professional confidence. They know that they are appreciated as artists, and that makes their art better.
Seniwati Gallery is very important for live women artists in Bali because Seniwati Gallery have promotion for the painting from women artists in Bali, and Seniwati Gallery much help the live women artists in Bali because she help about for a spirit, and women artists in Bali wake up about that.
They have much more freedom of movement now. Some have recently gone abroad for exhibitions in both Germany and Japan.
Seniwati Gallery was help about transport, about help about speak English, learn about English, and so on and so on.
And the latest thing seems to be to get a telephone. There's a number of artists who've recently got telephones, and I think that's because they feel the need to be in closer communication with us.
Mary's commitment to women and art in Bali goes further than just the gallery.
Well, we've now taken this idea of women artists further by establishing what we call the Seniwati Sanggar Muda, which is the Young Artist Workshop. This is like a school, especially for girls, for schoolgirls, aged between 5 and 15 years old, and they are the most talented girls in the community. We go to all schools in Ubud to try to find who is the most talented, and when we find them, we offer them a place in our school to study for 1 year. And the work these children are doing is just so beautiful. It really is wonderful. The boys do have other opportunities. There are schools in existence for the boys, but until we started, there was nowhere where the talented girls could go to develop their artistic talent. And yet this is in a village where so many people are artists. It's the major source of economic development in Ubud, is the art bringing in the tourists. But these girls would not have had a chance to participate in that, whereas hopefully with our help they can develop their confidence, they can develop their talent, and they know that they have a possible career in the future if they choose to develop that. My mission here can be summed up very simply, and it is to make the community proud of its women artists.